I'm Dan Russell. I work at Google, where I'm the Uber Tech Lead for Search Quality and User Happiness. At Google, I work to understand how people search. So in particular, when they're typing all those strange things that we see, why are they doing that? For instance, we know that every day the word first is among the top 15 most popular queries. Why? I have a hypothesis, but my general problem, my general research direction is to understand why people think that they can ask arbitrary questions of Google and get a good answer, and how can we help them be better at that. Search is something we all do every day, and yet people are not particularly skilled at it, and so they will often not do a really tailored or precise query, and then they'll spend time trying to figure out which of these results is really good, which one is really appropriate. If instead we can teach you a few tricks to be better at formulating your search in the first place, then your results will be better. Another aspect of that is, can you understand how to look through the different results and find which ones are authoritative and which ones are credible? That's an important skill which is not really well taught. That's one of the things we're trying to do. One thing to know is that Google queries are mostly answered pretty well. People often ask very simple, very straightforward questions, and we give them very simple, straightforward answers that are mostly right. It's when they try to look for something more complicated, for example, a medical search. People often do a medical search for a complex disease process and then look at the first result and say, oh, that's it, I'm done. No. What you want to do is dig a little bit deeper to understand really the context of what's going on there, rather than just read the first result, which is the most common mistake. Read one and done. No. Always think about doing a second search. Educators have, I think, two responsibilities. One is to be good themselves, so they can model that, and so they can use good search for finding out their curriculum, developing their lesson plans, and so on. So for their own sense, for their own value, that's one reason to be better. Second is to be able to pass that on to their students, because search isn't something that's taught in any single class. Rather, it should be taught in all classes, because the kinds of search you do for chemistry are not the same as you do for, say, English or for, say, world literature. There are kinds of different knowledge you have for each of those topics. So, from the education perspective, the educator needs to know to be better themselves and to be able to teach their students how to be better as well. I think every curriculum should have some part of search built into it, because it's easy to look up answers to questions. And in particular, if a teacher creates, say, a test that has a very simple to look up question, you know the students are going to Google it just like that. So the challenge for educators is to ask questions that are a little bit more probing, a little bit deeper, ones that are non-Googleable. And that puts a little bit more work on the part of the teacher, but I think this drives a deeper, more balanced education, where students are working to actually grapple with and understand the topic, rather than just doing the trivial search and being done. Children should probably start learning the moment they can read. The moment they touch a keyboard, you know they're going to start searching. So can we help them right from the very beginning to do that? So we know that students will search for games, they'll search for pictures, they'll search for fun things to begin with. That's a place to start very easily, giving them simple lessons to get them started down the right path. So right from the very beginning. One thing to think about is that when you're doing a Google search, what you're really doing is coordinating your own knowledge. You're effectively asking the question that's critical to your understanding. So I think one of the things we need to teach our students is how do you think critically about a topic area? How do you then translate that critical thinking into queries, into questions? And so in my classes, I often talk about refining your question. It's very simple to go to Google with an ill-formed, ambiguous, uncertain question. Type in something and get some answers, whatever. But it's another thing to be able to actually have a precise query that will get you and your knowledge farther down the road to understanding. And that's one of the critical skills I think all of our students need to have and be able to teach. Well, there are a lot of such stories. Let me tell you one. When I was in 9th grade, I remember confronting my teacher, my general biology teacher, and saying, you know, I don't think there are that many diseases caused by parasites, by protozoans, for example. And he got a little mad at me and took a big book off the shelf, dropped it on my desk, and said, figure it out. So I spent the rest of the day, it was a punishment. What he didn't know is he's starting me on a life of research. And so that punishment turned into me actually going to the UCLA microbiology department and talking with the faculty there. Mind you, this was when I was a freshman in high school. So without knowing it, that teacher launched me into a perpetual life of being curious, a perpetual life of doing research. I discovered that there are very few diseases caused by protozoan. So that teacher was a wonderful man. He was also totally wrong. It's been great. I mean, I love Sevilla. It's a fantastic place to be. The facility is marvelous. The food is great. The people are wonderful. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience all around. So I would come back.